Come here. Dante. Okay. Oh, yeah. Good morning, beloveds. Sorry, the cat's worrying the bathroom door because my IVs are still locked in the bathroom because it hasn't been above 50, like 55 in like 3 days. So the IVs are safe in the bathroom. But, yeah. And I go on vacation in just over 8 hours. He's going to let me leave a little early. The big Unity Church downtown is doing their Christmas concert, and my friend sings in the choir. And so we have traditionally gone to the concert. We don't miss them very often. And it's on Friday night instead of Saturday, which is good and bad. One, Friday night traffic. Yay, Houston. And two, but it means that she gets to go to Dickens with us. So I'm kind of excited about that. So there are 4 of us going to Dickens tomorrow, which means I'm not doing this tomorrow. Just a heads up. I know I'm going to be on vacation, but it's a staycation. We're staying home and we're going to go do some things around, town. So I will do this. I'm not going to promise to do it at 9:00 in the morning. It'll happen when it happens. So there we are. Okay. I may also use it to get a little ahead in the Emma book, but we'll see about that too, because those chapters take an hour to read. So, okay. So we are doing, Your Spiritual Power. Let me do the housekeeping first. And all the housekeeping is me reminding you that we are Creative Life Spiritual Center. Website is creativelife.org. Constant contact is, email info@creativelife.org. That will get you 1 email a week. Unless something unusual happens, it's usually weather related if you get an extra email. But that would, it's a real person doing it and he just doesn't have time for more than that. Tells you what's going on for the week and the month. The hot links are hot. So if it says click here now, it means it. It'll either take you to the information or the person that can help you get it. And then the last bit is, hang on. It's a blind CC. Nobody's going to see your email. You won't end up on anybody else's email list because of us. And then I do need to mention the social media ever so briefly. One, because we're doing this on the social media, but we do not monetize the social media for a variety of reasons. But the main one being we don't want to deal with the ads any more than you do. So what we ask you to do instead is to engage with the pages. So go like, subscribe, follow based on which platform you are on and whatever their requirements are. Because like on Facebook, you can both like and subscribe. No, like and follow. And then like on YouTube, if you subscribe, it'll notify you when we upload new videos. So, and then engage with the individual posts. So react to the post, comment on the post, share the posts. It bumps us in the algorithms. We think we have good tools to share. We hope you agree. It's a free and easy way you can support the center. All right, that's it. Oh, I guess I should tell you what they are. Creative Life Spiritual Center or Creative Life Spark. And I am the running Rev Ryan on the social medias that I am on. So there we are. Okay, now we are in Your Spirit. We are almost finished with Your Spiritual Power. So I don't know what I'm going to move on to. So we are in Your Spiritual Power. We are doing Living Without Fear. Now, because Your Spiritual Power is a collection, or as Reverend Norm would call it, a library. That's what he calls the Bible. So, reset. We're doing, with it being a collection, it's a collection of stuff that may not be found anywhere else. Or it's some of his rare works that are maybe a little harder to find. We are doing Living Without Fear, which turns out is a collection. So it's a collection within a collection, a library within a library. It is a collection of his early Science of Mind magazine articles, which is why it has a different tone, which is why I'm really enjoying it. We happen to be in part 3, the practical use of Science of Mind. And today we are going to do abundant living. So last thing I also need to open my highlighter. It's always awkward when I forget to open the highlighter and then here I am trying to open the highlighter because I saw something that was really cool. All right. So We are doing Living Without Fear, Abundant Living. The theory that we have the ability to change objective conditions through the creative power of our imagination rests upon the belief that behind the solid fact there is an intelligence, a formless energy, and a law whose nature it is to manifest as form. This theory, coupled with the belief that our minds, our thoughts, are directly related to the infinite guiding and directing intelligence, is the principle involved in the control of conditions through the creative power of our own mental action. Okay, that was a lot in the first sentence. Okay. Experience in the endeavor to prove this theory justify our acceptance of it. Experiences in the endeavor to prove this theory justify our acceptance of it. And one of the documented experiences, which is really interesting, Christian Science keeps records of every healing that they have had manifested since they began. So like, if you want proof that this works, Christian Science has the proof that this works. I heard one time Jesse lament that Science of Mind doesn't keep such good records. So there you are. Although Reverend Marcia did, she was like big on like, if you got a manifestation, write it down. So whether or not we have been as successful as we would like to be in consciously directing our affairs through the creative power of thought, we may still rest assured that any apparent failure may be ascribed to insufficient knowledge of this principle rather than its unwillingness to operate for us. Okay? It's not that the spirit failed us, it's that we failed spirit by not knowing enough on how to use it. The good news is that we can fix that. Because if it was spirit failing us, we couldn't fix that. But if it's us not doing it quite right, we can fix that. That's the good news. Okay. We should no longer ask ourselves whether or not there is such a principle, but this: to what extent have we gained the ability to use it? The known laws of physical science will prove of little avail in this matter. Theological speculations are useless, and philosophical discussions bear but little fruit. We are facing the problem directly as individuals. Do we or do we not believe? If we do not have sufficient faith, how shall we acquire one? Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. If we do not have sufficient faith, how do we acquire one? Each person should be the master of their own mental household, although but few are. Okay. All right. There's a quote here, and it's a weird quote, and I've never seen it before, so I'm just like, what? He that ruleth his spirit is better than he that taketh a city. Curious to know where that comes from, but okay. The problem is one of real belief. If we can sense the fluidic nature of all that has solid form, that energy becomes tangible according to a pattern, and that the solid form is an effect and not cause, we shall at once know that in order to demonstrate, we must more or less disregard the form and look at the presence. Okay. Disregard the form and look at the presence. Spiritual reality, mind, in which the original thoughts or ideas for the patterns of all that has form. We are too liable to be awed by the form and to stop at our point of contact with the tangible object. We would go so far and no further, refusing to look beyond that which was created. This intellectual obstruction is a lack of spiritual. Okay. Sorry. This intellectual obstruction is a lack of spiritual perception, a denial of the creative cause, and it results in limitation. So it's one of those situations where our intellect is getting in the way. The best practice for the conscious control of conditions is not the use of affirmations which declare that the all-good is omnipresent, but the quiet assurance in our own mind that the Spirit is both ready and willing to take full charge of our affairs, coupled with the persistent determination to believe that it is doing so. Okay. The quiet assurance in our own minds, coupled with the persistent determination. Okay. All right. Hanging on to that. But in so doing, it must flow through our belief and must take the forms which our belief creates. The Spirit cannot give us something we do not accept, and this accepting is a mental act. We must cause our minds not only to believe, but to consciously receive, to concretely and definitely accept. Hence, another proposition follows this one. The mind cannot accept what it rejects. The mind cannot affirm what it continues to deny. A weeding out process is necessary, an uprooting and replanting, a cultivation of the creative soil of our imaginations. The ground must be prepared for the new crop, and we must wait patiently upon the principle of life to produce the new form. Meanwhile, we should be careful lest, through denial, we affirm a belief which is the direct opposite of the good we desire. So patience is a boogie word. It's not my favorite. If you go to my Facebook page says patience is a virtue. It isn't one of mine. I have since learned something a little interesting about patience. Patience isn't waiting. Patience is what you do while you are waiting. So it's like, okay, we put it out there and we are waiting for our good to manifest. What do we do in the meantime? What we don't do is worry about our good, because then we begin to deny our good. The best use of our time is to go do something else. Go do something productive that has nothing to do with what we're waiting for. That's what patience is. And honestly, it makes way more sense. And I'm getting a little bit better at it. So, okay. The process is really simple. We must refuse to entertain doubts and fears and resolutely set our minds towards faith, acceptance, and receptivity. We must be patient with ourselves when we appear to fail, rejoicing when we conquer. There must be a flexibility of thought as well as a determination of purpose. So there are places to be steel, and there are places to be flexible. Although steel is somewhat flexible, so okay. In spiritual mind treatment, we should turn entirely from the undesirable condition and looking through it, as it were, see the opposite outcome. Each undesirable condition must be transmuted into a good one, and we must stretch the imagination to include the more, the greater, and better things. Which is why a lot of times when we do treatments, we say this or something better. We don't want to stop at what we want, because maybe there is something better, and if we're open to it, we might get a little bit more. Or a lot more. Calmly persisting in the maintenance of this mental attitude, we are certain to win. There can be nothing in the universe operating against our word except our own doubt. And even if you say, oh, well, what about so-and-so's doubt? Okay, that only works if you accept their doubt. So it's you accepting their word as your own. Okay, so nothing can get in your way except your own doubt. So don't accept other people's, is what I'm saying. The law cannot, because the law is impersonal. God cannot, because God is the impulse which causes us to seek to express a greater, fuller life. Hence, nothing can neutralize our work except ourselves. Whatever hinders, inhibits, or denies the reality of an omnipresent good and its eternal flow to us must definitely be erased from our thought. We must consciously set the good in motion, recognize it, and let it work for us. So long as a specific fear comes to our consciousness, we should daily meet it and, looking it squarely in the face, explain to ourselves why we do not need to be afraid of it. We should always be building towards the affirmative side of life, towards the recognition of an eternal and ever available goodness in the universe, ever manifesting in our lives and affairs. A direct application of science of mind to the problems of the business world is both possible and practical. Business is a thing of thought, followed by action. Without thought, there could be no motive for action, and without action, thought would remain unexpressed. Back of every enterprise, there is some mind at work giving it the stimulus of its creative thought. This is a self-evident fact. So, that's one of the reasons why it's like, okay, we are more of a philosophy than we are a religion. It's just, if you categorize as a religion, it just makes some things easier. But Ernest right here is saying, look, there's no reason why you can't use this in your business. Please use this in your business. Science of mind is meant to be useful in every aspect of your life, not just your spiritual life. All right. Often the mind creates a business, so endows. Oh, no, sorry. I left out a word. Often the mind which creates a business so endows it with vitality that the enterprise sustains itself long after the originating mentality has entered other fields of action. The thought has been so fertile that the business itself has become an entity in the minds of all engaged in it. But once let this mental pattern, this subjective action cease to be, and the business will fall apart like a chain of sand. Business, like all things on this earth, is not an eternal verity, but like most of the things with which we deal while in the flesh, it is necessary to the world in which we live. It is not a question of doing away with business, but of making it a success and a thing of joy. Like, I really like the job that I do to pay my mortgage. I do. And it is a joy. Any activity which does not express a constructive program is wrong in principle and cannot be made right in practice. In the exchange of ideas in the world of affairs, there must be both a giving and a receiving. The two should balance. We should not overlook the fact that the law of compensation is an eternal verity. In the use of science of mind, one should wish to do only that which is right and accept nothing less than a constructive program. Having complied with this program, one is in a position to expect success and should use the law for the direct purpose of bringing success into one's experience. It is wrong to be unsuccessful, but success also means more than dollars and cents. Success means mental growth and spiritual attainment and includes an abundance of those things which make living enjoyable. As the greater includes the lesser, so mental and spiritual growth includes material success, bringing with it personal happiness and temporal satisfaction. We cannot avoid the law, so we may as well learn how to use it in the right way. The law so works that as we believe, so we shall experience. If we believe in our abundance, we shall receive much, and vice versa. A small concept will provide a small container for the good we wish to receive. Great things are accomplished through great concepts. We wish to succeed and we have a right to be successful, but we can express reality and partake of its abundance only as we express freedom, not bondage. The science of mind Science of mind connects life with living and spiritual reality with what we are doing. We must remember that no knowledge is... Oh, hang on. I was like, wait, what? Where's the sentence going? We must remember that no knowledge is of value unless used. If we know a truth, we can prove it. For that which we cannot prove, we only suppose to be true. To the business person investigating the possibilities of science mind, there must come a guarantee that its teachings is effective in the affairs of everyday life. It is a mistake to suppose that some things are material while others are spiritual, and that a sharp line can be drawn between matter and spirit. Matter is spirit in form. Conditions... Okay. His punctuation is a little weird here. Hang on. Matter is spirit in form. Conditions, spirit in many forms. Spirit expresses itself in everything. There is no dividing line between form and substance. The best business methods evolved for the handling of affairs are the ones nearest the nature of spiritual reality, God. One should not be engaged in anything that they feel could contradict that which is good. All legitimate business, constructively handled, is in accord with the highest good. When we know that our business is an activity of the Spirit working through us, we shall be viewing our business in the right light. When we are certain that the things in which we are interested are constructive, we should go ahead with complete assurance of success. The only power there is with us, for there is no power opposed to spirit. In spiritual mind treatment for success, we resolve things into ideas, conditions into states of thought, and act upon the premise that thought is father to the thing. This method is both direct and effective, and when rightly used, becomes a law unto the thing thought of. What? Yeah, I know. There was a lot in that. Okay, but in doing this, we often contact obstacles, negating ideas in our thought, which rob us of our good if we retain them. For instance, we sometimes come up against the thought of competition, the belief that there are too many people engaged in the line of business in which we are involved. Competition is a belief that there is not enough good to go around, and while believed in, this thought manifests itself as limitation. We must resolve and dissolve this thought into its native nothingness, for it has no validity in a limitless universe. God does not compete with anyone. Therefore, we should not allow the thought to enter our minds that we are competing with anyone. We should never confine ourselves to watching what others are doing or how they are doing it. For when we do this, we are limiting our possibilities to the range of their vision. We must affirmatively guide our actions and not be bound by what anyone else thinks or does. Yeah, that's the truth. Don't let anybody else get in your way. We rob ourselves when we limit our good to the good of someone else or refuse to admit a greater good than we have ever experienced before. In spiritual mind treatment, we are to think from the viewpoint of limitless power, letting it operate through our own minds. Spirit is not bound by anything that has gone before. Principle is not bound by precedent. Okay? Spirit is not bound by anything that has gone before. It is always doing something in a new and better way. We are to let it conceive of new ideas through us and let the law produce the forms in our experience. In the business world, everything is an exchange of ideas. The buyer wishes to purchase an idea, the seller has one for sale. Unless this were true, nothing could be sold or purchased. Everything begins with an idea. These ideas exist in the one mind, and when one unifies with them, they become part of their experience. We know the ones who need our ideas will come to us, or we will be directed to them. We abide in perfect confidence. Then some thought may come to us that says, go to a certain person and talk the idea over with them. We must act on this thought, for this is the way the Spirit works. It is working through us and for us. When an idea to act comes to the mind, the act should follow immediately, but without hurry or worry, for confidence is the keynote to success. Business is built upon faith. Faith in life, faith in people, and faith in oneself and what one is doing. Without faith, there could be no business, no activity, no life, nothing. If one is engaged in a business in which they have no faith, they should get out of it and into something else to which they can give their entire faith and enthusiasm. They should expect success, think success, and talk success, refusing to listen to anything which contradicts success. The outpush of mind through human activities is the self-realization of spirit. And when so understood, this outpush becomes invincible. Ideas come from the great mind through the human mind. The two are really one. But ideas can come only to the mentality that expects them and that opens the door of thought to them so they can enter and pass through into expression. Let the mind be open and receptive. Let us court the inner consciousness until its wooing draws from the higher field of realization and inspiration that is real. Conviction ever comes from this inner light. We cannot convince another unless we are first convinced. The person who wishes to sell must first sell themselves to themselves, and their idea to themselves. Their idea is then sold to the world, for they are working in a field of unity. Convince yourself first, the rest follows. And that is a dynamic line to end that. And it's time for me to go, so we're going to wrap this up. On Sunday, we will have an answer to every problem. Literally, that's the title of the next chapter. So I'm going to encourage you to have a great day, a wondrous day, a fantastic day, a magical day, an enchanted day, a wonderful day, an awesome day, an amazing day, a take care of yourself day, a let's wrap this week up day, a getting ready for vacation day, a bundle up day, a drink plenty of water day, a cuddle your fur babies day, a tell somebody you love them day, a do something just for yourself day, a go listen to some great music day, a good day. And if that is too much pressure, because occasionally it is, simply have a day. You are enough just as you are. You are a beloved expression of the divine. You are a brilliant light, divine spark, spirit in motion, God in action, a beautiful masterpiece and a work in progress at the same time at your own pace. And as Reverend Jesse likes to call us, you are a godling. Explore the truth of your being. Get to know who the divine knows you to be, because the divine knows you to be good. And from there, anything is possible. All right, beloveds, like I said, moving on to the process of my day. Not doing this tomorrow, but we'll see you on Sunday about 8:45. Reverend David should be on around 5 p.m. with you. Take care of yourself. Know that you are loved. I will see you next time.